Into your heart, song to sing. It's the melody, making you hot. So that's the hour. What's the ball? I 101 gun salute to the tyrannical. Travel to the Lord of Lords.
Touchdown in Houston. Probably overpacked, but hey, I change clothes twice a day like Mr. Rogers, so it's alright. Room is decent. I like what I got going on in here right now. I'd say it smells good. Good little closet situation. Alright. Probably need to get some work done before I jump into this conference stuff, but yeah, flight was a little turbulent at first, but it ended up mellowing out, and yeah, I watched a couple episodes of JoJo's and fell asleep on the plane for a little bit, and we got here. So, long week at Afrotech ahead of us, a lot of events, a lot of panels, a lot of fun tech nerdiness, so stick around. Also, let's appreciate this full-length mirror while we can. So, fit details. I went undefeated fours, mismatched my laces. Nike Tech woven pants. This is my first time trying these. I like them. Might have to get a couple more colors. Advisory board crystals on the t-shirt. Touchdown right before I got home. I'm rocking a surfer, but this is a real dope Marvel collab. You see the whatnot on the yeah. And double wristing, I gotta make a choice soon. It's like dubs for day one. I'm not getting in that. Look down here. I was in Ballroom C, left to try to find some coffee. Yeah, I'm not getting any of these top today, so I might just call it. Get some rest before I go back out. To the tech table.
Those who may know me as Classic Man. So I'm excited, and I think that everybody in this room has way more dreams in their head, and it's probably used about 2 to 10% of their mind thus far in their careers. And AI has the ability, or we have the ability with AI rather, to expand on that percentage.
Yeah.
I'll be having a lot of fun. That's going to drive a lot of the innovation.
Yeah.
That's number one. Two, especially in this room, just remember that myth controls the world. Always has. Facts do not. Facts do not control elections. Myths have always controlled it. We are still the same cave people that sit around a campfire. Literally, look at us. This is the fire right now. We got big lights. And this is our little, and you guys are gathering around for storytelling time. It's still the same thing.
Yeah.
We are sophisticated hominids, or another word is, sophisticated descendants of chimps and bonobos. We are still just telling stories. Tell your story. For those of us here, yes, AI is both a divine mirror and a data colonizer, yes. But we as a people have an absolute duty, not just to preserve our stories, but to actually tell the stories we never got to tell, the stories that were forgotten because of oral tradition. There's so many folk stories. I have a doc called 1001 Igbo Proverbs. I can literally create a workflow right now, not even touch it, go on one of these LLMs and create a workflow that just animates 1001 Igbo folktales. We have to do this now, because if not, you know what it's going to be. And that erasure is not something that we can afford now. It's not something we could afford in the last 500 years. Let us seize the moment to declare our myth and honestly take our rightful space in this new age. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number of black professionals that occupy board seats of publicly traded companies is less than 4%. To me, it is frustrating to see such a stark lack of diversity in the most powerful positions in our industry. And so recently, I have reflected on the last 3 decades of my life. The trials, the painful failures, the lessons, the successes that have shaped my career in technology. And I have codified all these experiences into 5 lessons. I'm going to share with you these 5 lessons. I share them from my heart because I believe that by implementing them, you will make far fewer mistakes than I did. You will shine far brighter than I ever could. And together, we can change these statistics.
And we really need that in this moment in particular, right? I think when we think about home, I didn't even mean to do that. But when we think of it, we gotta remember that we've gotta create spaces to belong. And the places that we cultivated, I think particularly around and after the killing of George Floyd, it felt like there was going to be a tide change, that things were going to finally start to shift in corporate. I know many of the corporations here are recruiting, but so many of these organizations have also dialed back some of their efforts. Can we talk about why it's important for Black entrepreneurs with our problem-solving selves to figure out how to meet and bridge that gap, because there is one and it's growing.
Indeed, and just that's a perfect question, Angela. I want to mention to the audience, we're actually going to, I think, circulate mics, but in a couple of moments, we actually want to bring you into the conversation, because we oftentimes spend a lot of time on our show, of course, telling you what we think, but we want to hear what you think, what your lived experience is saying, and then how do we, as folks who talk a lot on these issues, help to meet the moment through your perspective. And Angela, we have asked a number of corporate folks who are sort of with us and supporting the show, whether or not they have felt pressure within their corporate environments to either lessen the emphasis on diversity, equity and inclusion as one example, or whether or not they felt internally supported and that the mission was not one that was born of a moment that existed and lived only in that moment, but that it's part of the lifeblood of a corporation, an organization that runs through the bloodstream of it, and not as an appendage. And we're lucky with some of our corporate partners that it does run through the fiber of the organization. But in a lot of other places, it's, y'all know probably better than us, not in vogue to say DEI a lot of times. Or the definition or the attempt to redefine the definition of didn't even earn it is one that unfortunately even supporters of diversity have allowed to co-opt its meaning. And the reason why I still sort of lean into the use of the term DEI is that I think we ought to be proud and unapologetic about the fact that corporations, the country, the world does better with a collection of diverse ideas that reflect the diversity of lived experiences that enrich whatever the outcome is, makes it more marketable and profitable, and we all come up, versus the really simplistic, myopic, racist intention that I think comes from the redefinition of it.
The first thing you need to know about Bravo Studio is every screen you make, you need to import through the app, the plugin first. So you right-click through the plugin, then click Import Screen. So it'll be a blank white screen normally. However, I'm speeding up the process away just for a little bit of time. So in this process, we have a very, very simple screen. It's a screen with a website on the inside and a little hover header on the top. Now, you can see over on the left side, we are changing the name of the layers. This is really the downside of Bravo Studio. You actually have to name your layers. I know so many of you just have rectangle number 248, or frame number 18.9, or final mockup. But this time you actually have to name them and it matters.
Down to how paranoid you are. You can run like Wireshark to check yourself, right? But I have never gotten to the level of paranoia with like my credentials, and I'm like, all right, let me see how this data is actually traveling back and forth, right? But you can also just do things where you're using like completely offline password managers, right? But the drawback there is you don't get the cloud backup, so if you lose those, like, it's over. Like, you just can't get into anything. So there's a bunch of strategies, and they all have like drawbacks. Thank you, for sure.
Pre-seed to Series A, and I've been talking around the world about AI for the last 3 years. And I probably put in like 5 to 7 tools in there as well. Now, some of you guys might see Dan and John's social media. He loves AI. He does a whole bunch of AI avatars. That is me, who is creating all his AI avatars. He'll call me 3 in the morning and say, Cliff, can you like make a picture of me petting a lion? I'm like, yeah, I can. You should go to sleep though. Like, we'll get that done. Right? I would say for the first year, it's probably like 100 a month, and now we're doing 1,000 a week. A lot of that is due to the fact that you can use AI to build these tools. So we're on this hockey stick moment, and I think this is only going to go up. So I want to talk a little bit about the current state of AI.
you don't see it. And so it's a blessing for me to come to Afrotech and people be like, yo, I heard your episode where you said da da da, and I'm like it's like spooky. It's like, oh, somebody's listening to the episode, but I don't see people. And so that feedback, when somebody likes a post, shares an episode, reviews it, that's the currency that gives us air, because people have quit podcasting because it's so hard to get any type of feedback. So they see numbers, yet it makes the difference, but they need somebody to say something. Say, I got something out of that episode. You know, share it with somebody. So that stuff is how we thrive.
Sucks because I just bought a barbecue trailer and we're trying to open up a business. I don't know what we're gonna do, you know. And she's like, "No, just do vegetables, do vegan stuff. People eat it." I'm like, "No, they not."
Quick intermission. About to head to the mall, but yeah. This weather is very temperamental. It's like 50 something this morning. It's 70 something now. I had to take off the sweater and put it back on twice. But yeah, food trucks are deep this year too. Like, I don't ever remember it being around the corner like this, but I'll take it. Back to back. Can I pull it off? Right now I'm about to walk into Figma and I'm headed to Disney. I'm gonna pop in on Render. Will I complete the triple? Stay tuned.
This is a fig mate. They've got the name tag, thank you, Angie. And they are here to talk to you. They're here to learn about you, talk to you about Figma, talk to you about their roles, network with you, but also they put a ton of work into this week at Afrotech. So first of all, thank you.
Round two, let's go.
So let's run out, everybody. Let's go.
We reach people where they're at. So I want to say, like 3 years ago, TikTok, for example, was not even on our radar, and now it's like a top priority, and we have like staff that are devoted to creating content just for that medium. So I'm sure with whatever's going to come next, we're going to have to make sure that we're aware of it and prioritizing towards that.
Speak code that I have is that almost in every story that I tell a little bit of my own story in it, without telling the audience that. So I sort of tell a little bit of my own background through the eyes of Dennis Rodman, whoever it is. It's sort of therapeutic for me to kind of like share that vantage point.
You're the big Dennis Rodman. When we go back off stage, I want to know how you tell your life story with Dennis Rodman.
pulled off the hat trick. I think I'm Ronaldo. I think I'm Messi.
I'm super frustrated and unclear on what the ask is. Another red flag I think is super important is if the brand is looking for you to mislead your audience in any way, if they're asking you to post a link that leads to another link that asks for the consumer to put in information that you wouldn't even feel comfortable putting in, I mean, I think that's a red flag, because at the end of the day, you want to protect your audience the same way that you would protect your name, because your audience is your brand. And then finally, I'll just say, I think a red flag is if compensation is just not on par with what you would expect for this kind of deal. If the math's not mathing, if they're promising things like exposure or product, I mean, I get it, we're all at different levels of our creator journey, and you should really be clear on where you stand and what sort of compensation you should receive. So I always encourage creators to talk to one another, like, how much are you making for this deal? What should I be asking for? Do your research. I mean, there's a lot of information online that is very clear on the ranges that you should expect for certain deals. I also encourage you to talk to your white counterparts and how much they're making in the creator space. I'm shocked sometimes when I talk to Black creators and I ask, well, how much would you want to get for something like this? And they're like, well, how much do you have? Or like, what should I? And very unclear on what they should be expecting for these deals. So I really encourage you to do your research so that you know your worth at the door and don't even have to have the conversation if it looks too low.
You should find a way to frame, hey, what is the budget to know that you guys are working with if it's not you or if it's a manager. So find a nice, generic, prescriptive way for you to get that, because the budget also can indicate your creative strategy, right? Maybe it might allow for you to hire help, a videographer or somebody to help you write copy. The branded content that I'm seeing nowadays is looking very creative director-like. And some of our counterparts are getting this budget to do so, where they're looking very synonymous with an ad that you would see on TV. Their platform, you're giving yourself more visibility. That's how you see a lot of streamers are using, the net graph of their audiences to boost their community. I also think that people should stratify and diversify their different platforms. As she said, as a creator, as a podcast, and she has multiple WhatsApp groups with different creators across the world, and her audience puts meetups and different things together on their own without her help. That is the power of community, and there is just a democratization with entrepreneurship and building a business. So it doesn't mean you always have to be a forward-facing creator, but a creator as in you're an entrepreneur and you're creating and building a business. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so great job. And so in terms of content, I'm a busy mom and everything. In terms of keeping your videos organized, if you come with an idea and it takes weeks to kind of finish that content, how do you keep your videos organized so that you can just quickly string them all together once you're finished?
100%. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. One way is I batch content. That makes life so much easier for me, especially as somebody who streams and has a full-time job. It's a lot to manage. So what I do is I take a whiteboard in Canva. I like to take a whiteboard and create sticky notes for all my content ideas and organize them depending on how far out you want to do it. Organize them based off the week, based off the month, where you want to put everything. What you can do is you can also link that specific content. So say I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I can put a link to wherever I built out that Canva template, or I can create it within the same, I'm moving the mic over like I'm not right here. But if I have short form for Monday, you keep them all in one. When you download it, you can download page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. But if you've already batched it out and put it on your whiteboard, organize it in your notes, you know what's supposed to go out when, then when you create it, you already have a template in place because you know what works, right? What kind of content did you say you do?
I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Oh, no worries, don't worry.
Yeah, so to start out, what I would do is I would start with a template that speaks to you. If you see a template or short form that you like, copy paste that. I was gonna say copy paste that, Joan. I'm not from Philly, but sometimes I be saying that. But you copy paste it 5 times, so you make the post 5 times a week. And then you change it based off of whatever topic you're talking about each day, but it keeps it consistent. It puts less work on your back, and it's already laid out for you, so you're just ready to post it. And you can post things directly from Canva as well.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
I love that question because it really takes me back to the beginning of why I started this all in the first place. So for those who don't know me, my name is Dr. Joel Gravel. I'm an internal medicine resident right now, but online I'm better known as the medical mythbuster. And a few years ago, I started creating content online about health inequities, specifically the ways that biases still exist in our healthcare system. So why is it that Black women are still 3 times as likely and upwards of 7 times as likely to die from pregnancy in some parts of the United States? Why is it that Black individuals are more likely to get chronic kidney disease, to be on dialysis, to have heart failure, to have diabetes? All these questions. When I got to medical school, when we talked about these types of disparities, we didn't do it from a way where we understood the historical reasons why these were happening. So whether that was related to redlining, how that increases rates of asthma in specific populations, or whether it's even food deserts and how that can impact specific communities, all these disproportionately impacting Black communities. But in my medical school classes, we didn't talk about that. We left it at Black people are more likely to X, fill in the blank, for a specific disparity. And I think what really made me want to start creating content was the COVID pandemic. During my first year of medical school, the COVID pandemic hit, and we were talking a lot about what COVID meant from both a biological perspective, but also more just society, what it was doing to our world. And that same refrain came back, that Black people were more likely to get COVID. But once again, we didn't dive into the reasons that Black individuals were more likely to be first-line workers, whether that's because of communities that they were living in or whatever. And so I started to ask questions in class, asking why aren't we going a little bit deeper? I remember there's one moment in class where we were talking about cyanosis, which is when the skin turns blue. I kept looking at my skin and saying, I'm not gonna turn blue right now. What's gonna happen to someone that looks like me? I rose my hand, I asked the question, and the professor had a great answer. He said you can look at your mucous membrane, you can look at your eyes, you can look at your nail beds. But I kept wondering, if I hadn't asked that question, when's the first time that I would have realized what cyanosis looks like in someone with darker skin tones? And so I took that moment and I said, let me find a way to talk about these types of things that we're not talking about in classes, whether it's COVID, dermatology conditions, etc. And I started using TikTok at first. And everyone was on TikTok at that time, especially during the pandemic, to connect with each other. But I asked, what if I actually started talking about a really serious topic like this and connect with others? And it ended up taking off. And one of the first videos I made was about this device called pulse oximeter. Do people know what that is? Okay. Pulse oximeters are devices that measure what's called your blood oxygen saturation level. How much oxygen is bound to your red blood cells. For decades, these devices have shown that they don't work well in darker skin tones because of the way that the infrared light is read. During the COVID pandemic, that led to Black patients being less likely to get supplemental oxygen because pulse oximeters are 3 times as likely to lead to inaccurate, overestimated oxygen saturation levels in patients with darker skin tones. I found out about that study from online, from an article that someone had posted on an Instagram story. And I had finished my cardiology unit, I'd finished my pulmonology unit, but I'd never heard about it in my classes. So I did what any Gen Z/millennial, I call myself a millennial, would do. And I posted it on TikTok, a 30-second video, because that was all that was allowed at the time, where I said, what does racial bias in medicine look like? And that video ended up going viral, and it had a lot of doctors and nurses commenting saying, I had no idea that this disparity existed, and I've been treating patients for X amount of decades. And it made me realize just how many disparities like that were out there, and wanted to use social media particularly to reach communities directly. I think within 24 hours, that particular video about pulse oximeters had over 500,000 views, showing just how much people needed that information, but weren't getting it.
Wow, that is so amazing, because as somebody who identifies as a Black woman, I often find that when I go to the doctor, they're like, oh, you're fine. I'm like, thankfully my aunt is a nurse, and she was like, no, go back in there and tell them you're not fine, and demand, these tests. So it's so amazing that you're pointing that out and educating all of us.
When I transitioned into making more medical content, people were still there with me. But I experimented around a lot. I didn't start with medical content. I started with just content that I felt like would resonate with someone when I was younger, like myself. And so I think that was really how I kind of found my calling, just posting things that I found were really interesting. Or creating stitches of videos to things that I wish we had more commentary, going a little bit deeper. Finding the unique aspects of myself that no one else can talk about. I've always been really interested in the kind of this merging of tech, business, and politics. And I remember like years ago, when my sister was graduating, the graduation speaker for her was Oprah. And Oprah said something that I wrote in my notes app that day. She said, the job you're gonna have in the future probably doesn't exist today.
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Okay, I need better than that, y'all. I know we're tired. Y'all was turning up last night. I saw you. So I know you got some energy. Let me ask y'all again, how y'all doing today? Yes, super excited to be moderating this amazing panel. Shout out to John for having me. I really appreciate it. We're going to be having some amazing discussions around gaming, community, influencing, and all the things. So definitely make sure to take out your notes, your pen, your paper, because it's going to be an amazing discussion. All right, let's get started. I want to ask you guys, what is the real difference between audience and community? Because we see so many people constantly talking about followers, community, audience, but I do think all of those things are distinctive. So I would what is that for you, John? Because I feel like, you have us on the stage here, you work with a lot of different brands and companies for DreamCon. So how important it is for you to collaborate, and what strategies have you utilized to collaborate with the right people?
Yeah, so after we created an event, like DreamCon, right, we had all these different fan bases and all the different communities all coming, but one of the core aspects when we first started was when we were inviting a lot of our other friends who already had their own communities, right? And so they played a big part in making DreamCon be what it was, because they came to support our event, and by supporting our event, their communities came, right? And so then you kind of go from there, like you're introducing, it's not only benefiting the con as a whole, but you're also introducing this new community who maybe just wasn't accustomed to your content, and you're not always gonna get 100% of their community, right? But every piece matters. If you're really trying to keep it something sustainable, in the same way you work with different influencers, it's the same aspect with different brands. Like if you want to work with a brand that brings this type of community, be strategic with it.
Love relationships, but what are some secret strategy sauce that you utilize to really drive it home and get those 3, 4, 5, 6, possibly 7 figure? Stop me when I'm going to talk. I'm just kidding. Sponsorships for your events. How are you able to do that? I was gonna say, I think you should take it because you guys have been killing it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just to be transparent, in the very beginning, it was tough, right? Because I think for an event like DreamCon, a lot of brands and partners, they're less willing to take a risk on something like that when they don't really truly understand what it is, right? So having a very niche demographic already, and then being a niche within that demographic, it's already a risk, right? And some of these brands, right, just because you see their logo on our thing, don't mean they can get money, right? I'm like, okay, oh yeah, I got this big brand. Oh yeah, we'll give you some lanyards. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm appreciative of it. That's great. But in my mind, as I was continuing to learn this, I'm like, okay, not everybody just giving you this, but those things can turn into something. But as far as how, I think that there's two things that I see from my perspective, right? I think the first thing is that, one, don't just be working with any brand just because of money. I understand it might be hard to do so, but another thing, going back to community, if your community sees that same energy, we're like, okay, he's just making this video to make money. Some at the very beginning, they're like, ooh, it's exciting at the beginning when you're smaller, but eventually, once you get to a certain size, and it starts to affect your content, then people are going to be less likely to want to support, or they're going to feel like you're selling out, and all these different components, right?
John's point too, I absolutely had that experience where I first started my content creation journey, and I was offered a partnership for the first time, and it was with a brand that had nothing to do with me, but I saw that check and I said, thank you, I'll make it work out. But I remember during that entire partnership, I didn't like the way that I felt. I was like, why am I promoting this? I'm not passionate about it. And so I'm appreciative that happened so early in my journey, because from that day, I've been so choosy about who I decide to work with. And also to your point too, when you are working with different brands, I think it's important to make sure that your voice is still heard. Oftentimes in deliverables and things that they want from you, they change your voice so much. They don't let you have that creative control. So when I do work with people, I want to make sure that my voice is still heard and it's still authentic. Yes, I will get your talking points down, but I want to make sure that it still sounds like me at the end of the day.
Viral, but then viral lasts for 10 seconds and then someone else is going viral. There's something else people are talking about. What are strategies that you've utilized to actually build out those communities that last past the viral moments? Bria, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I mean, in the context, I guess in my context specifically, being a part of a group like RDC, you know, we've had like a lot of viral videos, a lot of content that's gone online and over the years, but you know, taking that transition of creating something like a DreamCon, right? That was just something where at the beginning, we just wanted to have a space that could bring, you know, like-minded individuals all together. So basically taking all the components of what our audience saw for the group and creating this environment for where people can show up in person to meet each other. I feel like that's an extra step that, you know, like if you get to a point to where you're willing to invest in travel, you know what I'm saying, fly somewhere, get a hotel, do all these different things just for this person that you're giving your audience, and I feel like at that point you are more invested now to be a community, and I think that that's something that's more to take away as an experience that lasts way longer.
Because the first question someone's going to ask, $40 to get in somewhere? Where they do that at? Okay.
That's exactly what happened.
Bria, I would love to hear your thought.
I definitely agree. I think live events are super important. I've also been focusing on doing live events or community meetups at different conventions, DreamCon, TwitchCon, things like that. But also because so much of my presence is online and a lot of people aren't able to always go to a place, I think Discord is a really great website feature to use, being able to have the community in one central place. And so if you're not able to stream or able to create content at that time, the community is still able to build together.
Interested in how you have charted such an amazing career in engineering, in the beauty industry. So I want to ask the first question with you. You've led teams that bring data and beauty together in ways that tell stories. How would you say that your leadership has evolved as technology and representation have shifted in the industry?
So I started as a software engineer. I studied computer science. I'm a nerd, so don't let the appearance fool you. And once I became a leader, I was like, okay, how can I galvanize my team to really be interested in things? And so it's really about asking the right questions instead of having all the right answers. I learned that it's really important to ask at the right time as well, and there's no stupid questions. Like sometimes with my team, I ask stupid questions on purpose, like, what is AI? You know, and just to see what they'll say. So I think it's really important to just make sure that in leadership, you are always an engineer or, you know, whatever practice you're in, first, and be curious and kind of help the team out like that.
I agree with you. I think curiosity actually drives innovation. And I think you're in a really exciting industry because I do think the landscape of beauty has changed. Like, there are whole lines dedicated to melanated people. There's whole lines dedicated to people with certain hair. So I think it's a really exciting industry to be in right now. So that's awesome. But I don't want you guys to be the CEO of our careers. And I know that we are in a very interesting time in this particular country with the government being shut down, with layoffs happening, and this is your bread and butter. You advise people on their careers, how to move, and I feel like working for an organization where it does not necessarily feel like your characteristics are a barrier to your success, that's powerful. You know, if I can be black, if I can be a woman, disabled, you know, a veteran, whatever those things are, and they not matter, that's amazing. But I also think, to Awa's point, you can't stop. And there's a lot of people, and there may be people out here in the audience who are dealing with career pivots and shifts that they did not plan for. And I really want to leave them with something. Because it's great to say, oh, I want to be innovative, I want to be curiosity, the why, and do all these things when you're in your career. But if you were laid off, if you are dealing with the government shutdown, if you are in a pool of 10,000 other resumes and you want to get noticed, what are some things, and I'll say also for their mindset, so that they feel encouraged? Because I also believe that if you have to apply for 500 jobs to get a job, you have to do that. That's not always easy. So if you can maybe talk to that, being the CEO of your career when your career is in turmoil.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think we've all experienced a layoff and or know someone who is adjacent to that layoff as well. I think even I'll give you a specific example where I always tell my team to bring focus to the fog, right? Especially with recruiting. It always changes. It's always moving. You're always being promised headcount. You're always being promised resources. People are getting laid off in the middle of the night, and you don't know who's there when you're picking somebody that goes great. So I think bringing focus to the fog, just really stealing your mind, but also always interviewing. But I think the biggest piece is these events. My DMs on LinkedIn are flooded. I think I have individuals here that I've talked to at other events, and I think it's really powerful. I know where the brother is. I've seen him at multiple events. He's made a real great effort to actually talk with me. I'm going to remember that. It goes a very long way. As someone who opens jobs, every time I open a job, there's 2,000 applications within 24 hours. No, it doesn't matter the skill set. And most people are opening jobs to hire their friends. But when you open those jobs, I'm going to be thinking about that individual that's been talking to me all week. So you just have to be very, very active. Just stay, as cliche as it is, positive, and just be optimistic and understand that activity is king. I've never seen someone who keeps moving not succeed. So continue to do that, and I think you'll see the light in the tunnel.
To a pretty successful long-term career. So I'm curious, what legacy do you hope to leave as a tech leader and mentor for the next generation? We have a lot of next generations out here trying to find their way.
All right, I'm gonna try and give you two points, or at least 2 points, it might be 3. But number one, being a leader has absolutely nothing to do with title. Absolutely nothing to do with title.
I'm just going to give you an amen because no.
It has everything with your ability to influence and motivate someone or some people to follow you, leader, right? That by that definition, a janitor could be a leader. By that definition, an IC could be a leader. They don't need to necessarily have people with them. They can lead without authority over people, right? So you have to have the mindset of what is it that you as an individual have agency over and have a strong grasp over, that folks will want to follow you where you want to take them to. So that's number one. Once you're grounded on that definition of what a leader is, I think it's important to really get grounded on what a good leader is, right? And maybe even have some distinction between a great leader. I'll give you my definition over time. I suspect a lot of you will come up with your version of it, but my definition of a good leader is someone that can get good people to do amazing things that they know how to do well. A great leader is someone that can get good people to do amazing things they didn't know they could do.
And we were through. I'm trying to compose myself, but I just go, 'cause we can't be here. I think about it. You know what you know what it is, baby. It's all you gotta do. got those sexy eyes and Tyson thighs, you make me rise. You got that love that won't drop, so my tongue up, down your spine. You got that Barbie shake, love you make my scream in the aim. Wanna take all your clothes off, sex you till the song goes on. What we doing, Houston? Sex you from head to toe, don't ever wanna let you go, baby. Can I give y'all one more?
Yeah, the city by the sea. Mama tried to keep me home with a lot of fucking street. I was cooking up a key, trying to serve it to the street. Couple niggas had beef, so I had to cheat. I got homies from the 2, I got homies from the 3. I keep everything neutral, I just wanna smoke a leak. I was one nigga sick, try me, he gon' get the tech. Hear a lot of niggas talk, ain't a nigga press me yet. I'm in Houston, be loud. That's a bet. Hey, you ain't a real nigga if you don't represent. Let's go. Push it, 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 push it. Here we go now. Go get the money. 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 Say what's that? Push it, 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 push it. Got him. Caímos.
Say, y'all, we gotta see if they ready for it, you feel me?
Yeah. I'm in love with the I'm in love with the I got it for the Lord. Turn up. I'm in love with the
I know I ain't tripping, but the bird got the birds on. You won't bust one of these heads on. You ain't scared, huh? You got the bread on. I know you gonna let somebody that's coming funky, huh? Turn it right down, turn it right down. Boy, look, nigga don't play no game no more. Nigga, I'll bust a head if you ain't his own. Attitude is just what we all need. For telling them in 4 months, nigga call me. I bet you I get the niggas off the block. I bet you I show them niggas this one. Say you.
So fine motherfucker, want you back that ass up. Call me Big Daddy when you back that ass up. Girl, who is you playing with? Back that ass up. Girl, you look still want you back that ass up. So fine motherfucker, want you back that ass up. Call me Big Daddy when you back that ass up. Girl, who is you playing with? Back that ass up. Girl, you look still want you back that ass up. So fine, y'all ready? Want you back that ass up. You got a stupid ass, make me laugh. Make a nigga wanna grab that, wanna grab that. I'm sweating in the jaws, hard up. Wanna walk it like a dog, bring your up, get my nigga gon' get surgery, like a surgeon. You fucking with my nerves, to the curb, I know you bitches know that, and it's over. With the 2, we got some more, I'm about to flow,
Yeah, I found out how to do this, and we started this organization 2 years ago to bring this kind of event out here so people can see it, for people to enjoy it, people that look like us, so we can have fun, collaborate, network, and find out how we can help each other. So today, I want everyone to have fun, also learn, and just find people in here that you can help yourself and help yourself. So in saying that, what else do I do? Silent Street. If you guys like Silent Street, talk to me about that.
Yeah. These people are too humble, honestly. They are incredible human beings, and they are bringing in so much accomplishments and so much. So I really encourage y'all to connect with them while you have the chance to. After this panel, because these are people you want to be imposter believers. You know what? I'm going to step out and actually start that business.
Yeah, so as somebody who went through the transition, I graduated college in 2018 with my bachelor's in computer science.
it was very hard trying to get a job in the market. You know, I was young, black, and educated. Nobody wanted to take a gamble on me. So I moved to Virginia. I started working as a government contractor, and during my time, I took notes about my experience about getting into the industry. So I really decided to create Onyx Cyber Consulting, which is my LLC. I was going to help people get like mentorship, career coaching into the space for technology. And that's how I got started. It was just really about my passion, my journey. I went out into my own to experience that.
Yeah. So.
Bro, look at me next to this thing, bro. Look at the talons. That's crazy. Bruh, I'm hurt. It's half the reason I wanted to come here.